Hello and welcome to Investing in Ukraine, Europe's final frontier. This week we're looking at Ukraine's preparations as the country gears up to host the 2012 European Championships. Our guests this week are Jorge Entreago of Ernst & Young and Sivodnia multimedia publisher and COO, Guillermo Schmidt. Gentlemen, welcome to the show. When Ukraine won the right to co-host Euro 2012, it was hailed as the biggest breakthrough for the country since independence in 1991. However, the slow pace of preparations and the sheer scale of the task facing the country have served to temper this early optimism. The huge infrastructure regeneration projects envisaged as part of Ukraine's preparations are dependent on international investment and expertise. But many investors have thus far been put off by political instability in the country and a lack of confidence in Ukraine's ever-changing legislation. With a new government now in place and promising to create a more stable investment environment, is Ukraine back on track to win Euro 2012? Guillermo, Euro 2012 is now just over 2 years away. Do you think Ukraine is going to be ready for the big kickoff when it arrives in June 2012?
Well, that's a very interesting question. I think that most of the Ukraine is backing the authorities in numerous infrastructure, construction and development projects that are ready. It is public knowledge that airports have to be built, hotels have to be built, stadiums have to be completed, and a lot of other behind-the-scenes investments have to come about. My general impression is that there are some problems that are focalized in terms of having problems with their completion dates. Others seem to be on course. The last visit of the authorities of the UEFA apparently approved what the Ukraine was doing in terms of infrastructure. Now a new government has been elected, and a deputy prime minister has been given specific responsibilities for overseeing all tasks related to infrastructure construction necessary for the game. So it is hoped that we have the necessary organization in place to be able to complete it on time.
In terms of the implementation of the plan for Euro 2012, obviously there's a lot of emphasis on stadiums as it's a football tournament. In your mind, what are the most important infrastructure elements of the project?
Well, I think they're very diverse. My general impression is that the stadiums will get completed. There are 2 stadiums already completed. Another 2 have to be finished. One is in Lviv and one is in Kiev. The Kiev project seems to be ongoing, but with some delay. But it is the most important venue because it hosts the final. So being in the capital is an advantage in terms of getting things done. From the general impressions that I have, the infrastructure that has to be done in terms of hotels is very important. And I think this will require foreign investment. And I think one of the difficulties is in terms of the laws and regulations that have to do with purchasing, construction, permits, etc., which tend to be very bureaucratic in the Ukraine. We'll have to find some way of having a fast track for people interested in investing in hotels.
Well, yeah, I'd like to bring Jorge in on that point specifically in terms of the legislation, the legislative framework in which they're trying to attract investment. Has enough been done, and what could be done to bring them in the next 2 years?
Unfortunately, the answer is no. There's a lot to do, and you started the question, when are we going to be ready? This 2 years is a very short time frame. If you talk to any of the hotel operators, they will tell you that from the moment the permits are already approved, construction and putting the hotel already into operation is more than 2 years. Yeah. So if we have the cases right now in which we haven't even gone through the permitting side, it is necessary to reform the legislation, as Guillermo was saying, to fast track. There has no legislation been passed fast tracking absolutely anything. And the problem is not only that. I mean, is the areas of legislation that the games will touch are very, very broad. You need to have legislation even affecting tax issues. I mean, none of the players are going to come to Ukraine. This has been done in other countries. Come to play in Ukraine if, for instance, sponsorships that they have globally are taxable while they're playing here. VAT reforms. I mean, there's this very significant legislative reform that has to do first to enable the infrastructure, yeah, and then to enable the games themselves.
If we look at Euro